The world was shocked to learn Jaime Foxx's Electro was returning for the upcoming Spider-Man 3. But with rumors that he'll be playing a different version of the same character, the question is now, what other characters could make an MCU comeback? There was a rumor in early 2020 that suggested Charlie Cox's Daredevil would be in Spider-Man 3.
Historic.
But at that time, that felt a little preposterous. Though now with the multiverse clearly on the horizon, could we actually see the Daredevil we've come to know and love alongside Peter Parker? It's now possible. Let's discuss. The MCU's television landscape was very different a few years ago. Although the MCU was built under the mantra, "it's all connected," it was clear that the TV side and film side of the MCU weren't seeing eye to eye. Besides a few references here and there was never much of an attempt to tie into the larger MCU franchise, and the Defenders stayed in their own little bubble. But that was a missed opportunity. Daredevil, played by Charlie Cox, quickly became a favorite amongst fans, and the actor quickly wiped away all negative connotations with the character that were previously established with Ben Affleck's version of Daredevil in the disappointing 2003 movie. With Marvel TV then being restructured and the studio announcing that Disney Plus would be having their own Marvel TV shows that tie into the larger universe, the writing was on the wall. Daredevil's show, along with his fellow Defenders, were all shortly cancelled, seemingly closing the door on any future appearances with these actors in the roles. There was a rumor a few months ago that Charlie Cox's Daredevil was going to be in Spider-Man 3, but at that time that felt a little like wishful thinking. But you fast forward to today, and it's actually not that far-fetched. With Jaime Foxx coming back as what seems to be a different version of Electro, it opens the door for other characters to return in slightly different ways. And this is where Charlie Cox's Daredevil comes into play. Fans love the character and the actor portraying him and really want to see him in the MCU. The only problem with that is the tone of Daredevil's TV show is incredibly different from the film side of the MCU. Putting Charlie Cox's Daredevil next to Tom Holland's Spider-Man would definitely be jarring, but now there's a solution. Spider-Man 3 can establish that the Daredevil we watched on Netflix took place in a different universe, and the Matt Murdock we meet in Spider-Man 3 is just this universe's Daredevil. It allows Charlie Cox to remain in the role and still fit in with the MCU's current tone. I think that's a win-win. Because Daredevil would make a perfect ally for Peter Parker right now. The last we saw Peter, his identity was being outed thanks to Mysterio and J. Jonah Jameson, and the webhead was being framed for Mysterio's murder. Although that footage should be easy to debunk, it could lead to a trial of some sort, and one of the best people to defend Peter would be Matt Murdock. And that would create a really interesting dynamic. I know one of the criticisms of Tom Holland's Spider-Man is that his movies see him always needing some type of mentor instead of standing on his own. And while that could apply to Daredevil, I think there's real value in pairing them up. The concept of secret identities is something the MCU has largely avoided. Everyone knows Tony Stark was Iron Man, Captain America was Steve Rogers, etc. Spider-Man was really the only one guarding his secret identity from the world. And Far From Home shook things up by outing his true identity. Daredevil could also be a hero who's hiding his secret identity from the world. And Peter could gain some valuable perspective by pairing up with someone who understands what he's going through. Plus, as an added incentive, seeing Spidey and Daredevil fight alongside each other, both using their heightened senses to take down bad guys, would just be too awesome of an opportunity to pass up. And what would this mean for the future? If the MCU brought in a more family-friendly version of Charlie Cox's Daredevil in Spider-Man 3, where could it lead? Well, for starters, it could re-establish the street-level type of vibe the MCU is going for with their future. Behind-the-scenes details report that the MCU is actively trying to create different layers in their franchise. With the MCU growing so big, they supposedly want to continue creating a divide between the epic cosmic side of their universe and the more Earth-based heroes. Daredevil could be a new linchpin for the street-level heroes, especially since Spidey's future seems to always be in flux thanks to the complicated Sony partnership. If Spider-Man was to disappear into the multiverse and not return to our universe, who would represent the more down-to-earth heroes? I'm just saying Daredevil could fill that role perfectly. The future of the MCU is in an exciting place right now, and Spider-Man 3 is already a hotly anticipated sequel. But if producers are thinking of making it even more epic, they should definitely bring back Daredevil, don't you think? Do you want to see Daredevil in Spider-Man 3? Do you think Spidey and Daredevil could work well together? Let us know in the comments below, and be sure to hit that subscribe button for more awesome MCU content like this. Thanks for watching CBR. See you next time.